Hola.
Olo.
Oh, hello. Hmm. Well, from what I can tell, everyone but Big is going to be here, unless someone else called out that I didn't notice.
There's a strange amount of Windows noises coming over.
That kind of happens.
It would be pleasant if it didn't.
Oh.
Hmm. Do we know where are the Star Guilds in here already? No? Okay.
They'll be here in a minute. They're just having a little bit of computer issue.
Alright. Well then, while we wait, does anyone wish to recap the events of last session?
I'm good.
We all woke up on a train. The turtle was replaced by a rabbit. And for most of the session, there was intense violence as zombies broke onto the train. And when we arrived, we found out one of the crazy people on the train was in fact the guildmaster.
Indeed.
What? There's no crazy people.
Crazy? I
We're
was crazy.
all normal.
Wait, where is... everyone's tokens are here.
You should totally consider piling up some blankets to, dampen the noise. Right next to you. Yeah, I know. Okay, thank you. But so it enters the hibernation mode and does not have to boot. That's trying to boot the yeah, you have to uninstall that. Oh, now it's one considering care. Now it should actually be done. I promise you that's a worse issue than you can imagine. Please use the other laptop. Your own? Yes. You? Nothing. That's a whole tech support rabbit hole. Hey, here. Use one of my files. So, small update. The Star Guilds apparently ended up with the ability to hibernate a computer that does not like to hibernate. So they're switching, so they're getting a different computer set up.
How long do you think that'll take?
5 to 10 minutes.
Would you like me to wait for them, or should I just start introducing the scene?
I think it's safe to start introducing this scene, and then we'll just catch them up.
All right, then. The guildmaster just waves her hand dismissively. Don't you mind that. That's normal. Sounds like one of our other adventurers just got back from their task, actually, she says with a wicked grin on her face. Going right up to the door and firmly kicking it open, the two puppet guards at her side just... And she ushers the party in. Come along, come along.
Thank you.
Dara would just follow quietly. Ashlyn would follow sparkily. Listen, she doesn't go anywhere without her sparkles. It is a deep offense to expect her not to sparkle.
Over here. Whoa.
There's unironically just this sparkle sound effect that follows her wherever she goes. No one knows what it sounds like. It just says sparkle.
Sounds like sparkles.
When the sparkle is sparkling.
Indeed. It sounds like sparkles. I do apologize for this room being a little cramped.
What do you mean cramped? It's not as if it's soul-crushingly tiny or anything, and we could barely all fit in it.
You.
It's just fine.
Party would enter what seems to be a well-kept reception room, where, in a massive sphere of floating magical water, a wolfen and merfolk is sitting at a desk, seemingly using magical hands to type at a typewriter or some sort of primitive-looking computer. Only slightly wincing when the guildmaster kicks the door in and firmly off its hinges. Though she seems quite used to this and ducks underneath the flung door. Welcome back, ma'am. It seems you've brought the new group of adventurers. In the room, the source of the shrieking is also found, as a strange, monster-like woman is being bounced on, poked at, and chittered at by a group of young dragonlings. Two very tiny ones flying around, bouncing on her, and the last one kind of poking and trying to get her up off the floor, where they seem to be laying flat on their face.
Are you tiny?
That adventurer looks very tired.
Because the room's cramped, so I went tiny.
Oh.
Give anyone a chance to react to the various things going on, then I'll move on.
Are you all right, madam? Do you need assistance?
The woman on the ground groans. Dragons are hard to babysit, she says as she looks up at the party for a moment, only for one of the little dragons to bounce off her head and smack it firmly back into the ground.
Come now, we're not that bad.
Do you need a hand up?
Don't worry, this is normal for these little ones. They're just excited for the season. One would note that these three little ones seem to have various spooky painting on them. And, as a matter of fact, their babysitter is also covered in various paints, though much less expertly.
I see.
One of the little terrors flies over to look at, flies around looking at Luminance, and then, forgive me, it's going to take me a moment to get everyone's names right again. Amaranth, then Dara, Then at Ashlyn. All while yapping rapidly, as if they're trying to ask questions, but they're speaking either absolute gibberish or they're speaking Draconic.
Adara understands Draconic.
As do I.
Well,
Most
anyone
of
who
the dragons
understands,
do.
well, anyone in the party who does understand Draconic understands this little one is rapidly asking questions like, "Hey, what's your name? Hey, are you an adventurer? Is that your cool adventurer weapon? Oh, you look like a dragon. Are you a dragon too? Ooh, you got pretty hair. You're sparkly. Like, why do you have fins on your head?" And many similar questions at very high speed.
Fairy dragons not from around here. Luminance, Amaranth, and we're kind of adventurers. We're new at it.
Adara would
They just
say,
seem to dart.
we're here to
Go
deal
ahead.
with the unfortunate bouts of necromancy that seem to be recurring.
The little
They're
dragon.
children,
Well,
right?
yep, these are whelps. These are
I don't
dragons.
think little dragons would know what necromancy is at that age.
Little dragonling tries to slowly sound it out. What is that word? What does it mean?
It's a really bad word that describes worse people.
So I should call bad people
No, there's
It's
not
a
always bad people.
It's a very specific subset of bad people.
They're not all bad people.
Oh. The little one rapidly nods their head and then flutters over to their sibling to rapidly chitter this at them. There begins to be a discussion on how to pronounce this word between the two of them, while the older one is just still trying to get their babysitter up off the ground. The receptionist, meanwhile, looks at the entire party. So, ma'am, this is the new group you mentioned in the communications. That it is. Think you could get them all set up and ready for their proper missions, doll? Don't call me doll. And of course, Guildmaster. I heard the train crash. I imagine that's your fault. Not entirely this time.
To be fair, you'd probably crash too if you had to deal with an undead menace that sometimes manifests in dragons. In draconic form.
The receptionist sighs. Not again. That otter is going to be in here giving me hell about that. Getting her train fixed. The receptionist just rubs her temples, already seeming like she's going to have a long day.
You know, it might be worth getting some kind of, mechanic on staff. I've heard that metallokineticists are very, very in high demand.
The guildmaster would chime in. I also suggested adding cannons to the train, but the receptionist and some of my other staff say that's dangerous and not proper, and poses a liability.
Those are all just synonyms for innovative.
I would say cannons would probably have been very good against, the horrors that turned the entire group of passengers on the train.
The receptionist, hearing this, blinks a few times. Turned all of the. Oh no. That means I have even more paperwork to deal with.
Technically,
She
it didn't
looks.
turn all of the people on the train into undead unless she looks around at the party. Is there something you're not telling me?
The guildmaster shakes her head. Easy there, Dara. These ones aren't undead. I am 85% sure of that. And that's higher than my usual.
Well, I suppose we can afford to wait until you're only 65% sure.
See, you're doing better. The receptionist just looks incredibly tired. Anyways, you send this lot to my office once they're done getting all set up and given the tour. Alright? Right, doll? Don't call me doll, and of course, Guildmaster. And the Guildmaster flips over the desk and into the door behind them and out of sight.
You
Which
look exceptionally stressed.
please tell me the train is at least in one piece.
Despite the massive holes in it, yes.
No. He's lying. No.
Bits of it are.
Adara would just say
Bits of it are in one piece.
it's probably better that it's not in one piece because I don't think we know where that is.
Just say there's lots of other pieces of it laying around. But that should be no problem, right?
Wait, I thought the sea train was in one piece. Some comments.
It's not
The
in
mix
complete.
of
It's not.
Sorry.
It's not in completely one piece. Remember, the roof caved in.
The roof.
It was also on fire.
I think we should stop
That goes
describing the
without
train. I
saying.
think we're going to give this poor lass a heart attack.
More like a massive migraine.
Do you need a hug?
The merfolk gestures to the massive orb of water around her that she needs to breathe. Maybe, but you'd probably drown before, or you could give me one.
Sacrifice I'm willing to make.
Please. No, I already have enough paperwork with a group of people who got turned on the train. Just tell me, on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad was the fire
10.
damage?
Well, sure, the roof got ripped off. There's fireballs all over the place, and lots of things went flying. And we also went for a very, very rough landing at the port. But first and foremost, you have to understand your sense of what continuity and connection is. Technically, we are all one, united in our dreams, and trains can be alive.
I'm going
Adara
with this-
nods in confirmation. Actually, you would be shocked. Some of my kind are trains.
One of the dragon whelplings asks, do adventurers always get to set things on fire? This is the older one who jumps up onto the table.
This one does.
Their eyes light up so excitedly. The receptionist looks absolutely horrified. Another pyromancer.
I am not that.
Adara would just say, listen, I think that you really need to work on enlisting more of my kind. There really are some who are willing to be trains. You just have to be okay with certain oddities.
We're already still trying to deal with your oddities, Atara. And whatever strangeness is coming with this new group of friends of yours.
Ashton would then look to Adara with big eyes and say, "You know, if your kind can just choose to be trains, does that mean I can be the train for a little while they repair the old one?"
No, technically not. Unfortunately, you kind of have to be built that way and infused with psychocompessence.
Ah, damn. Well, I could always be the dreamboat then.
And having spaced out for quite a bit, Sarah runs in with her boombox. Whoa, I got left behind. Like, what's going on in here, everyone? Hey, where'd the cat lady go?
Through the desk to the door behind the receptionist. I don't know if that's the proper term.
Yes, I am a receptionist. And this is another one of the new adventurers? Yep, that's me. And she says with a big grin on her face and kind of overexcited bit of energy. The receptionist just shakes her head and gets several papers out for the parties to sign, except for Adara, who she already has more than enough information on. Right. Please look over these. These are guild registers. Whereas they have our various rules, regulations, our contract agreements, and all of that. A few of you were given a test as you had to fill in something similar, but this is for a more proper spot in the guild.
Personally, I found the pamphlet very helpful, even if it does remove some aspects of plausible deniability.
Several of these have been added because of you, Adara. Don't get me started. The receptionist gives her a very pointed glower.
This smiles cheerily. Glad I could help you refine and hone your rules.
You know, you're why we have a no cruelty to sentient undead rule.
I have always wondered why you had to do that. The others I could almost understand.
Knows what she's doing. She knows what she's doing. She just leaves the party for a moment to look over the rules and
Oh, actually,
sign them.
before the receptionist gets too far away and Ashlyn's reading over the paper, she just says, "By the way, with how much the guildmaster calls you doll, have they ever used power word doll on you?"
No.
I
Spell is it?
listen.
Please tell me it's not a spell.
Something that you should really be wary of is when you work for an official guild, sometimes part of your contract involves secrets.
For some reason, the receptionist now looks vaguely terrified and she turns away to check her own contract now.
So, anyway, I was privy to a very interesting divination that you would have something I was looking for.
Ava is going to approach the receptionist and look at the contract, somewhat worried about being turned into a doll as well. That's not in the contract, right?
Oh no, it's not in the contract that you have to let yourself be turned into a doll. It's in the contract that you can't talk about it.
Chat.
So, I'm gonna talk to you for a moment, Adara in
Sure.
DMs. Alright. I will say that Sarah does look at the party, wondering what they think of the contract, though she seems to be speed reading it.
So
Also,
Adara would say, so again about the scythe blade.
whoever actually had that would feel the scythe shard actually seeming to wiggle and react, especially when Idara mentions it.
As far as I recall, it's still stored in my extra dimensional space.
I very much require.
So what's exactly in this contract?
Roll perception, and I will tell you exactly.
I'd love to know myself as well. Do you want me to roll?
Well, I can tell you what the normal rules are. I'm just perception is you want to find any fine print.
Yes, I'm very curious about that too.
All right, that's one person roll. As far as Luminance can tell, there's nothing particularly weird in the fine print. It just seems to be rules about how behaviors, not going into people's houses without knocking, not setting taverns on fire, specifically ones in the Water Kingdom, mentioning that the guild will take a portion of any gold the party makes from certain jobs, but provide housing, thing and the like, and information about a mercenary system where the party can hire various other adventurers to assist them. But they also have to not murder those other adventurers, and that is highly looked down upon to do so.
May I make a perception roll too? See if I find anything that might be
Yep.
there that
Anyone can make this roll. Anyone can make this roll.
cool.
You do find Amaranth does find a rule that upon getting 2 strikes, hikes in rapid succession, the guildmaster reserves the right to turn that person into a plushie and stick them on her shelf for a week. For some reason, this is written in very small text between a couple of rules about booze consumption and the proper usage of rope.
And I will roll for perception as well.
Environmental storytelling.
Alright. Along with the mentioned rule, there are a strange number of rules about the proper treatment of the various puppet servants that are wandering about, this aforementioned rule, and that continued rule breaking will lead to an extended time as one of the guild masters for his personal plushies. And you're starting to get a feeling that this guild master has a thing for them. There's also a rule about how not resurrecting the dead needlessly, and a very small rule about how sorry, I got all jammed up. And a small rule referring to Adara, are saying she is always right about undead at least 85% of the time. Why is this in the contract?
Adara would just speak up. I very much would appreciate getting my scythe shard back, if you wouldn't mind terribly.
Not until I find where it needs to go.
I am where it needs to go. It belongs to me.
Do you have proof of that?
I have the scythe itself.
Do you take
Well,
out the scythe?
He does.
The scythe shard violently rips itself out of the interdimensional space. When done so, when the scythe itself is presented, though the bag instantly closes itself back up.
it
Up
wasn't a
to,
bag.
or whatever
It was a box.
A box.
It was a box that ceased to exist for the time being. While it was there, you had to unlock it. But
Well, I apologize for damaging your box.
It's okay. It fixed itself.
More of an oddity of the scythe itself. Kind of an odd shard of reality.
As the scythe blade reattaches to the scythe itself, the scythe turns into a hellhound, or specifically the plushie of one. She holds it tightly to her chest.
Given what the party saw when they touched, or at least the two people who did see, when they touched the thing, that would probably be very strange. The receptionist can be heard muttering, "There is a dull clause in my contract. Why, that stinking little..." She looks very frustrated.
Wait, does that mean you just don't remember when they used Power Word Doll on you?
Apparently, I'm not allowed to remember.
Not that it's ever been said, not that it's ever happened to me or anything, but there are just certain things that are absolutely worth being turned into a doll for a week, especially if you're going to be hugged and cuddled and loved.
The receptionist just looks even more horrified. Anyone have anything to add to the scene before I keep going?
Not that I can think of.
Okay.
other than I don't think I'm signing this.
Receptionist sighs. What exactly about it bothers you?
The fact that there's already been revealed to be hidden clauses and everything in here, with this kind of presentation and contract, it's clear that it can't be trusted, and therefore, why should I trust the guild?
The guild is a valuable asset, and sometimes you need to be willing to make sacrifices and face the unknown. It's just another aspect of what it typically
then in
entails
that
to be an adventurer.
All right.
in
I
that
think I'm
particular case,
done with this game here. I'm sorry, guys. I can't do it. I'm done. I'm done. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go.
All right, have a good night.
and with that, I shall depart as well. Thank you all.
Farewell.
Gotcha. That was weird fucking behavior on top of weird fucking behavior. Why do people have to be so fucking dramatic?
Well, Amaranth mentioned they weren't feeling good, so I can understand them. They had a rough day. They were not feeling like at the top of their game, so I think they were just didn't have much energy. It's fine.
Okay.
I think Amaranth left the server. Or I'm crazy.
Let me see. If players do, that is unfortunate, but it is.
Apologies for That must really kind of suck after you just got back into this.
For me or for someone else?
For you. Personally, I hate the drama.
It is what it is. Some DM styles just don't match with other players. I'm not going to call them some bad players for that.
Yeah.
Dramatic leaving aside. I can still continue, or I can call it for now. Your choice.
And
I'm
that
fine
would be
with
up to you.
that.
Then I will remove a couple player tokens, and we shall continue. Are you still good to play, Ava?
Yep, I'm good. I'm just sort of. I thought someone else was talking. I think Syl says something, but I think they actually got talked over, so I was going to let them talk, but I could also just be wrong.
Well, then, to give a story reason for this, anyone who refused to sign the contract would be dismissed from the room, as it is required for joining. The little dragonlings seem a little disappointed to see those two disappear. But they're also very curious now about how Adara, friends. I'll use Labashi, I'm so sorry. And Adara and Ashlyn, whom they are fluttering around, finally giving their babysitter a momentary break. I wasn't even going to say they couldn't argue the contract, by the way. Anyways, the receptionist takes a deep breath. Does anyone else have any issues with the contract? Despite our guild master's strangeness, she is more often than not trustworthy. And I can attest that she has not really punished anyone. Most of the rules are simply behaving properly, not acting drunk and disorderly.
Reasonable rules.
Ash, no, ask, does acting disorderly count eating glitter bombs?
No. That's bizarrely, but not disorderly. It's more a matter of not throwing flaming chairs out of our tower window again.
Oh, I am so sorry to introduce this fact right now, but I am incredibly nauseous.
Oh dear.
Do you need like 10 minutes?
No, my stomach is in a really bad way.
Understood.
No worries.
Would you prefer I
so-
cancel session and just leave it off here?
We might need to. I'm probably going to need Silsage.
And we'll say that Ashton will have signed the contract, and we could probably pick it up from where the contracts are signed.
Sounds fair.
At least as long as Ava is down to sign it.
Nope, that's fine. If players aren't feeling well, I understand. And also, if the DM needs to acquire other players to replace those that were lost, I also understand.
Nah. If I'm perfectly honest, I don't. I can balance a group. I can balance around small groups as up from as low as 3.
Certainly, although I do have a place to advertise, and anyone we interview for the campaign, we will also be interviewing their comfort levels with these kinds of gags and shenanigans. So I suppose we will also have to be checking if people are okay with general insanity.
Yeah, I think they just weren't up for the wackiness of the campaign, which is fine. It's